Hello everyone. In the previous videos we talked about how we can create an invoice in the Excel and also we talk about the data type of Excel, how we can enter the data into the Excel cells and we show data to users by using format cells. So right now we do not need any of this page, so I delete this tab. And today I want to talk about how we can have a clean data. So what I mean by having a clean data. So in the first video we talk about the Excel and we say that Excel is a software for analyzing data, and the data can come into the Excel with any formats. In most cases we may have more than thousands of the data, more than a million data, and we want to analyze those data. For example, I want to analyze my sales data, what the product I sold previously, how much I get by and how much I sold that. For example, how many of those products are sold, how many customers I have. This means I need to analyze my data of the sales data. In any industry we have data nowadays. There is a lot of data thanks for software, thanks for computers and software and internet. We have lots of data in any format that you can imagine. So how I can analyze those data in the Excel? The first step is to cleaning the data. So before I go too deep into the analyzing the data, for example, I want to analyze this data, but not today. Before that, I want to talk about how I can have such data. So as I told you, come here. As I told you, data can come in any format. So where can it come from? It can come from the webs, in the website, in the internet websites, from the software database. It can come from questionnaires. For example, if you are a student or if you want to analyze something, you make some questionnaire and give it to some person to fill it, and then you enter those data into the software or into the Excel, so it can be directly in the Excel, directly from the Excel, and so on. There's a lots of source of data. So these are the main source of data. So we can have it from the webs, we can have it from the software databases, and we can have it from the we can enter it directly into the Excel, with whatever approach you have. So we have some data in the Excel. I don't know, it can be in any format. What I need to know, what I need to do, I need to clean those data. I need to have a clean data. So what I mean by having a clean data, the clean data in the analyze field is the data that are in the table format. So whenever I want to have a clean data, I need to reform my data into the table format. I need to reform that. So the reforming process is called cleaning the data. When I reform the data, which comes from any format in any sources, when I reform it to the table format, I call that these are the clean data. And the process of doing that is cleaning data, is the process of cleaning the data. So what is the table format? The table format is the format that uses headers and records. So most of us see the tables. The tables have something like this. We have first row, I say F1, and we will have another rows here. This can be, let me say that this is the row 1, this is the row 2, row 3. We go n to the row, for example, n. So in the row 1, we enter the table headers. And in the next rows, we will have the row data in here. So these are raw data. We call them raw data because we do not have any formulas on it. We do not manipulate those data. These are just the data. It can be the text data, it can be the date data, it can be the numbers, whatever are they. These are not manipulated. These are the data I want to, or we want to analyze them. And each row, so we need to talk about the headers. What is the header exactly mean? And what records each of these rows is called a record. So right now we need to specify what is the header and what is the record. When we get a good definition of those, we will be able to reformat the data to this format. Let me have the data here, a table here. This is my table. Okay, each table need to have the name at first. So the name of the table, it represents the data I want to analyze. So for example, this can be my sales table. If it's a sales table, I assume I will have the data of my sales. Or it can be the marketing camp table. So when I have the marketing camp table, I can assume this table should have the marketing's data. When that camp started, when that camp ended, how many people watch that camp or use that camp, whatever, and how many for example, customers came to my website based on that camp or buy from me based on that camp, and so on. So we need to specify what is the tables represent. For example, in our examples, this is a sales data. So if it's the sales data, I have to assume that these are raw data here should represent my sales. These are the things that you need to define before you want to clean your data. So when I have the sales data, I can assume that each sales ID, for example, it can be my invoice number. And for example, the customer name, or for example, the quantity of that customer bought, or for example the price of the product. I forgot to say that the first thing we need to have is the product name. Which product that this customer bought, how many this customer bought this product, and what is the price of this product. So these are the raw data that I need to have it when I want to analyze my sales data. And in the headers, these can be my data specifications actually. These specification specifies my cells which I want to analyze, and these are directly come to my header. So header is the place that I will have my data specification, and I need to have that in the table approach. In the table approach, I will have one column for one of these specifications. For example, for ID, I need to have one column, and for another one, customer name, I need to have another column, and for product name, I need to have another column, and for quantity amount, I need to have another column. For price, I need to have another column as well. So these are the headers of my table. The headers of the table, not just called the header, it can be called column name. So some people can call them the column name, or the field name. So header name, my header, the column name, each column's name, the field's name, each of them is the field, are all the same. So remember that we have three other, we can call them the headers, we can call them the column, we can call them the field. So in each row we will have a raw data, a data ID for the cell 1, for example. If these are the record 1, R1, this is the R1, this record is the data of the sale 1. So in each row I will have the data for each cell. This can be go beyond whatever cells I have, and this can go all for Rn. So we will have n records which represent the n cells, the total cells I have until now. It may be go bigger and bigger and bigger. So if I want to analyze the Amazon sales data, for example, it can go beyond the millions of the sales, it can go beyond the billion of the sales. This is the table approach, that whenever I have a data, for example, if I'm a Amazon sales data analyzer, when I pull out the data of the sales from the Amazon, it can be from the software, it can be from the website, whatever it has, I need to reform the data into this manner, into this table manner. So whatever format you have, whatever shape that data has, when you reform the data into this format, we call that you are cleaning the data. when you are reformatting to this format. And this is the format, this table format, this is the clean data. When you have this you have the clean data. In the analyzing, having the clean data is the first step for analyzing the data. So whenever you have the data, you have to be sure your data is clean. Your data is based on the table format. You need to reformat it to have that clean data. When you do not have this clean data, analyzing of data can be so hard, complex, and even you will not be able to analyze your data. So keep that approach in your mind. You have to have the table format. And for example, this is the data I get from my customer. This is the sales data. You can assume that we have this data. You can assume that we download this data from the software database or from the website, whatever you have, and you want to analyze this data. I will provide you the link of downloading this Excel file, this raw data, so you are able to analyzing this data by your own. And if you want to have this Excel, just click on the link and download that. And in the next video we will talk about the table tool in the Excel. If you find out that this video is useful for you, please subscribe into our YouTube channel and like our videos, and see our website yaku.co.uk and see our products as well. Thanks a lot and goodbye.